your go-to platform where you can read and listen to some amazing book summaries anywhere, anytime. This is your Geekler Sakshi, and I'm here today to read the summary of 17 Anti-Procrastination Hacks by Dominic Mann. So, let's not procrastinate and get started with the summary. Introduction. So guys, why exactly do we procrastinate? What happens in our minds that we have such an awful habit? Can this procrastination end? Does this act of self-destruction have a solution? Yes, of course it does. In this book, you will learn not just one solution, but 17. This book is about the life hacks that you can do to stop procrastinating. You will also learn lots of stories from people who applied these hacks in real and how it changed their lives. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Starting with the first chapter, Why Intelligent People Procrastinate and How Not to. So let's listen to the first story. A young, mentally disabled man used to injure his fingers everywhere. He'd do it over and over again, lots of times. But why? Because he couldn't predict the future. He was fun at parties though. He was fun to talk to, and he would act as though his actions had no consequences. And in his mind also, they definitely didn't have any consequences. Despite his condition, that young man never procrastinated. Not once in his life. Why? Because people procrastinate when they think of the consequences. And in that man's unique brain, it was impossible to see the consequences. Whenever he had a task, he would just do it. He doesn't think whether he's going to enjoy it or not. He doesn't overthink it. He just takes action. Now imagine that you witness your friend hurting her fingers while cutting some fruit. You feed that image to your brain, and eventually, you get scared of cutting fruits again. You have a task that you must do, but you never actually do it. You're always afraid of something. You wonder, what if you screw up? What if you don't do it right? What if you don't enjoy it? So, it seems that procrastination is the burden that everyone needs to carry around. We think and think and think. We overthink every tiny detail, and we are left with no time to actually do that task. But guys, there is a solution. It's time to develop the next action habit. Let's read it in the next chapter. Develop the next action habit and build momentum. Joshua has a huge task ahead of him. His boss asked him to organize 3,000 pictures according to their subject. Joshua has to organize them into several folders, like the sports section, celebrities, food and beverages, etc. Such a huge task could be overwhelming. It seems impossible to choose a section to start from. But you know what Joshua does? He breaks that huge task into smaller ones. Let's see how. Joshua first divides the 3,000 pictures into hundreds. See? Now he doesn't have to deal with all the pictures. He just had to organize the first 100. Joshua continues to the next 100 until he finished the whole task even before the deadline. Nothing changed. The 3,000 picture task still had 3,000 pictures in it. But what changed is Joshua's way of dealing with it. So basically, he tricked his brain into thinking that the task is just easy and small. Joshua chunked it into many small pieces until he got the whole task done. And you know what? Physics played a huge role in that. Newton's first law states that a body at rest will remain at rest unless a force acts on it. It also means that a body in motion will stay in motion unless something happens. A force that will stop it from moving. So when you procrastinate, you'll continue doing so unless something changes. So what you need is that momentum to push you into doing that stuff. The same thing happens if you accomplish one single task. When you finish that task, you're making momentum on your resting brain. You push it to finish another task and then another and another and so on. The trick here is that you should break down the overwhelming task into smaller ones. You need to make your brain think that that big task is not that big. It's small and easy, and that is doable. You need to shift your focus from something that your brain perceives as impossible to something that is truly possible. And once you break down the big task into smaller ones, take the next action. Do the smallest task first. Keep doing the small tasks over and over again until the whole project is done. And that's how, my friends, you keep your momentum going. Coming to the next chapter, the 2-minute rule and making a tasty to-do list. Even though you broke down your task into smaller ones, sometimes you might still find yourself lagging behind. Examples of these are a short email that you haven't answered or a laundry that was not done. Eventually, you find yourself locked in a chain of small tasks that pile up and become a huge task all over again. So now, what do? You can apply the 2-minute rule. If a task requires less than 2 minutes to be done, do it immediately. Don't wait. Don't let it pile up. If you want to eat healthy, pick up a fruit and eat it right then. It won't take even a minute. Do that every day and you will find yourself more likely to stick to that routine, thanks to Newton's first law of motion. Take, for example, a guy named Mark. When he first wrote a to-do list, he put down tasks such as change your car's windows. But Mark found out that even though he had a to-do list, he didn't actually do anything on it. Mark then decided to make his list more interesting. He realized that his previous list was boring. And the task change your car's window is a recipe for procrastination. It's demotivating. So, to make it more doable, Mark did a thing. He replaced that task with call the store to know the prices of car windows. He also wrote, look for the nearest store and go there. When you make a to-do list, you need to make sure that it's specific enough to make you want to do it. You need to give precise and clear instructions for yourself. Vague statements and unclear goals are difficult to follow. Am I right? So then which task looks more interesting? Change your car's windows or call the nearest store and ask for prices? Which one seems more doable and less likely to be procrastinated? Now you know the answer. Let's hop on to the next chapter now. Time blocks and setting macro goals and micro quotas. Anthony Trollope was a successful writer in the 19th century. He wrote 47 novels, 18 plays, and many other things. The surprising thing here is that Anthony did all that while working a regular 9-to-5 job. But how did he do that? He accomplished this by setting macro goals and micro quotas. Anthony's macro goal was to write a novel, of course. His micro quotas, however, is what made him different. Anthony set up a time block for himself every single day. He would wake up and be on his desk at exactly 5:30 a.m. and stop writing at 8:30 a.m. He divided his time into 15-minute blocks. He had to write 250 words in every block of time, which would give him 1,000 words every hour and a total of 10 pages every day. At this rate, Anthony can finish 3 novels per year. So what makes people procrastinate is that they don't see an end in sight. Procrastinating seems like you're just swimming in an open ocean and you cannot see the shore. So naturally, you lose your motivation and you eventually quit. What Anthony's 15-minute micro quotas did for him was outstanding. They provided him with a sense of accomplishment. Every 15 minutes, his brain rewards him with energy and satisfaction because he completed the tiny amount of 250 words. That's what you need to do. You need to have an end in sight. It's something huge. That's what we call a macro goal. And then you divide the steps that you need to do to achieve that into small but powerful micro quotas. Remember to set time blocks for each micro quota and commit to that. Nowadays, there are many tools that can help you keep all the distractions away during your time block. You can use Go Fucking Work. It is a website time blocker that prevents you from doing anything else other than the thing you are supposed to do. How cool is that? In that way, you'll ensure that you get a sense of accomplishment whenever you finish even one micro quota. After all, that is better than waiting to finish the whole macro goal to feel good about yourself. Time blocks also help you to become more purposeful and productive. They allow you to specify what exactly you need to do, at what time, and in what place. By using time blocks, you will realize that there is a right place and right time for everything. And we are on the next chapter, the butt-in-chair method and airplane days. Story time. Linda is a manager. She says that she's most productive when she is on board an international flight. Linda explains that whenever she's on a trip somewhere, she gets so productive during that flight and she finishes a lot of tasks that she has planned. Why? It's because she is making use of the butt-in-chair method. The butt-in-chair method means that you should literally put your butt in a chair and stay right there for a specific amount of time. Even if you don't do anything, just sit there without any distractions. You know what the trick is? The trick here is that eventually you'll find yourself doing exactly what you wanted to do. Fortunately, that method doesn't have to happen only when you are on an international flight. You can apply the butt-in-chair method even when you're in your office or on your desk at home. Put your phone in airplane mode and keep it away from you. Put your butt in that chair and sit properly in front of your desk. Set a time for how long you need to accomplish your task. Do these techniques every time you want to get something done. And eventually, you will find yourself actually doing the same. The next chapter is Create a Distraction To-Do List. The author Dominic Mann says that he encounters a big problem when he needs to get something done. When he sits in front of his computer, he finds himself Googling what Donald Trump did today. Why do cats purr? Did Neil Armstrong really go to the moon? Etc. Then, Dominic realizes that he just wasted 30 minutes of his time browsing useless articles. Research shows that these little distractions do not only waste your time, they also make it difficult for you to focus on your task. You waste around 25 minutes trying to focus on what you really have to do. So, how did Dominic solve the problem? Whenever he gets distracted, Dominic writes it down in a distraction to-do list. What do you do in this distraction to-do list? You write down the task you really need to do. You write down that you shouldn't get distracted, or that you should focus, and just focus on your work. Writing the distraction to-do list will help you to get back on track again. And now we are on the next chapter, the 10 plus 2 multiplied by 5 method and utilizing the power of deadlines. That doesn't work for me. I find it super hard to devote a specific time block to do something, says Tyson. It's impossible. I can't put my phone in airplane mode. What if my boss calls me? I might get fired, says Carol. Can you relate with Tyson and Carol? Then you are the one who should apply the 10 plus 2 multiplied by 5 method. This method simply means that you set a timer for 10 minutes and start working. You focus only on the task you need to get done for 10 minutes straight. Then, when the timer rings, you do whatever you want to do for 2 minutes. You can check Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, etc. After that 2 minutes, you go back to your task again and you do the 10 minutes plus 2 minutes routine for 4 more times. That is what multiplied by 5 stands for. This brings you to the total of 5 10 minutes bursts of work and 5 2-minute breaks. 10 plus 2 multiplied by 5 is equal to 1 whole productive hour. What this method does is that it makes you look forward to the next break and then look forward to going back to work. After all, it's nice to feel productive, right? Do you want to know what's even better than that? It's meeting your deadlines. This must have happened to you. You had an all-nighter before an exam so that you could finish. There is a deadline, and that deadline here is your test. If you don't finish studying, then you are screwed. So, if you want to get something done, create your own deadline. Even if the task doesn't really have a deadline, you should create one for yourself to make sure that you achieve it on time. Time for the next chapter. Kill your inner perfectionist. Perfection kills. Xerox missed out on the chance to become the most successful company in the world. Why? Because of perfection. In 1973, Xerox made a personal computer called Alto. It was impressive at that time, yet Xerox chose not to release it. The big bosses waited to put more impressive technology in it. They wanted it to be perfect. Xerox released Alto in 1981 at the cost of $50,000. Meanwhile, IBM released a PC that was far from perfect and didn't have all the latest technologies. But IBM's PC came at a much lower price, which is $1,565. Thus, IBM succeeded more. And that's where Google learned from Xerox's mistake. Google released Gmail in 2005, and it was labeled beta until 2009. Google had 4 years of running an incomplete product. Yet in those 4 years, Gmail became one of the most successful email services on earth. So guys, the point here is that something is always better than nothing. You cannot edit an empty page. Start on whatever you want to do. Trust me, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can edit your project and improve it along the way. But just release it. Just do it. And we are here in the next chapter, How to Procrastinate Productively. Yes, that seems funny, but let's hear a story about it. Dexter had a very tiring day at office. He still has a lot to do when he gets back home. But he's so tired that he just wants to sit in front of the TV and eat pizza. But Dexter knows that if he does that, he's going to stop the train of productivity that he's got going on. He doesn't want to stop his momentum. So, Dexter decided to do small tasks like answering some emails that he had not answered yet. He got up and did some small edits on an article that he has been working on. It didn't take even more than 10 minutes, but he didn't let procrastination get to him. Sometimes we can't help but procrastinate. We all do. We might be tired and cannot do anything. But the solution here is that you use the redirect technique. Instead of giving up on the whole day, just do some other small tasks that still need to get done, like answering some emails or anything small for that matter. Time for the next chapter, the kind of visualization that leads to procrastination and the kind that leads to action. Like most of us, Kelly daydreams about the things she wants to achieve in life. She plans and keeps on planning. Kelly visualizes herself being happy after completing her goals. But what happens next? Nothing. Why? Research shows that visualizing that success tricks our brain into thinking that we've already achieved it. But the reality is that we haven't even started. And this makes us less likely to actually do something about it. So, how can she solve this problem? Kelly needs to daydream about the process, not the goal. She wants to get a nice stable job. So instead of visualizing having that one job, you know what Kelly should do? She should visualize the process of getting it. She needs to visualize applying for many jobs and getting lots of interviews, etc. World-class athletes never visualize themselves standing on the highest place with number 1 written on it. Instead, these top athletes visualize the race itself. They think of the motion of their bodies. They think to push themselves to the limit. Top athletes visualize the obstacles they would face along the way. Thus, when you want to get something done or achieve a goal, think about the daily process of it, not just the end result. Okay? Coming to the next chapter, the one word that kills procrastination. Let's see what it is. Researchers made a study to replace the word can't with the word don't. They divided the participants into 2 groups. Both groups wanted to become healthier. The first group was taught to say things like, I don't want to skip the gym, or I don't want to eat that piece of chocolate cake. The second group was taught to say, I can't eat dessert, or I can't skip my workout. After a few months, the researchers offered both groups some chocolate and granola bars to choose from as a reward. The first group was twice likely to choose the healthier option. What does this experiment prove? It proves that words are powerful. Can't and don't might seem interchangeable, but actually they are not. The word can't makes your brain think that you want to do something, but you are unable to do it. On the other hand, don't makes your brain believe that you are choosing not to do something. It's your own choice and it makes you feel powerful. So, whenever you don't want to procrastinate, tell yourself that. Do not say, I can't improve or I can't do better. Instead say, I don't want to quit or I don't want to be a loser. And we are here in the next chapter, how to cheaply and quickly outsource tasks. Well, I know that the summary is about being able not to procrastinate, and outsourcing doesn't solve laziness. But sometimes it's an option to consider. Some tasks are simply not worth your time. It's not that you can't do them or that you're procrastinating doing them, but rather it's that they simply take too much time and they're not worth doing. So, why not look for other people who could do it for you? For example, Upwork offers you the opportunity to hire people to do things that you simply don't have time to do, especially for tasks that you are not familiar with. You can ask for help by outsourcing. And these were all the tricks by this book. Let's conclude this quickly. Procrastination is awful. It lets so many tasks pile up until you simply don't have the will to do them. In this summary, you learned 17 hacks that can finally stop you from procrastinating. Let's recap all of them. 1. Intelligent people do not procrastinate. 2. Develop the next action habit. 3. Build momentum. 4. Make an interesting to-do list. 5. Use the 2-minute rule. 6. Set your macro goals and micro quotas. 7. Use time blocks. 8. Put your butt in the chair. 9. Turn the airplane mode on. 10. Write your distraction to-do list. 11. Remember the 10 plus 2 multiplied by 5 method. 12. Use the power of deadlines. 13. Do not be a perfectionist. 14. Procrastinate productively. 15. Visualize the process. 16. Do not say, I can't. 17. Outsource or ask for help. Hopefully, you can apply a few anti-procrastination hacks among these in your life. Never say you can't do it. Tell yourself that I don't want to procrastinate. If you are a big procrastinator, believe in yourself and remember that you can change. Those who have read this book made a great improvement in their lives. Now that you know the 17 hacks, it's time to get moving. I hope you like this book summary. And if you want us to create more of such summaries, don't forget to like this one, share your feedback in the comment section, and to show your love and support to us. This is Gigla Sakshi signing off, and I'll meet you in the next summary. Until then, take good care of yourself, be healthy, be happy. Goodbye. Jai Hind.